Hi, Freddy here, back on the desktop. And what I've got for you today is Cyborg Commando. Cyborg Commando came out in 1987, and as you can see on the cover there, its main writer was Gary Gygax. In fact, this was his first project after leaving TSR. There'd been some financial problems which he'd brought TSR out of, but during which he'd have to give away some of the control of the company, and that forced him out. Basically lost control of the company he had set up. But he was already a massive name in the role-playing market. Everybody was wanting to see what he would do next, and this was what he did next. Cyborg Commando. Set 1, the Battle for Earth. I'll give you a clue. Cyborg Commando didn't do well, and set 1 was all that ever came out. There was 3 adventure modules which came out, but this was Cyborg Commando, science fiction role-playing game. It was published by New Infinities Productions. Their logo down in the corner and on the edge here. What's the back got to say? Set 1, the Battle for Earth. Invasion. In the year 2035, Earth is attacked by aliens, hostile Xenoborgs, who selected our planet as the next addition to their galactic empire. In mere days, man's conventional forces are destroyed, and the Earth is overrun by alien troops. Now, Earth's only hope lies with the Cyborg Commando TM Force CCF. He does like the trademark for Cyborg Commando. A cadre of super soldiers who are part human and part machine, but all cop. With their state-of-the-art defences and built-in weaponries, the CCs may yet be a match for the invaders, but time is running short. With this game, you can be a member of the Cyborg Commando, no TM, force, and drive off the aliens. This set includes everything you need to start with the defence of Earth. A 48-page CCF manual for players, with character skills, combat rules, and a technical section complete with diagrams of CC construction. A 64-page campaign book for the Games Master, including full details on the aliens and their invasion, the world political situation in the early 21st century, an index of CC bases worldwide, a 16-page adventure booklet packed with beginning scenarios, and 2 pre-inked dice. For gamers these days, inked dice was actually something to boast about. You used to get, in many of these box sets, your basic Dungeons & Dragons, a plain plastic dice. Whatever size you needed, a D8, a D20, and you would get a crayon, and you had to rub it across so the wax would go in and fill in the colours, or the numbers. So pre-ink dice was, amazing. Although that said, I did get a non-inked dice which was glow-in-the-dark, which I absolutely adored, and then melted by holding it up against the light for too long to charge it up and get it to glow bright. Was it bright green or bright blue? Bright blue it was, because I'd got other things when I was a kid which glowed green, but I'd never seen something that would glow blue when held up to a light. Anyway, Earth needs you. This is your last chance. Looking for the best? Look to New Infinities. I have no idea if New Infinities ever released anything else but this game. They certainly were not a big player. Gary Gygax brought this out. Without looking them up, I have a wild guess that they probably did a bunch of Dungeons & Dragons independent modules, if they were even allowed. Cyborg Commando and the Cyborg Commando logo are trademarks owned by Tri-G Enterprises Corporation. Now, I don't know why Tri-G owns the copyrights. I'm guessing it probably was Gary Gygax's games. Tri-G, 3Gs. Makes kind of sense. And after he lost Dungeons & Dragons, he had to fight to keep control of some characters and some of the setting stuff he'd created. I know he lost a bunch because TSR just owned everything. So I'm guessing Tri-G, and again, just a guess, is Gary Gygax himself keeping control, so if New Infinities messed him around, he would keep the control. a member of the Game Manufacturers Association. Now, in the box, we have the CCF manual, the campaign book, the GM's Adventures Notes. The dice have long been in my dice bag, and I'm afraid I've only got one of the game scenarios, one of the adventures for it. We'll take the box and we'll chuck it to the side. You can tell I take care of my stuff. Now, the CCF manual, preamble, how to use dice, character generation. Well, if you're a Cyborg Commando, shouldn't basically you be the same thing? But you can't be an elf Cyborg Commando. Apparently in their prediction of the early 21st century, we all had robots and very tight behinds. The Xenoborgs, as you can see from some of the artwork here, are big bug-like aliens with cybernetic weapons built in. Cybernetic stuff sticking out of them there. How to use the dice. Cyborg Commando has a very interesting dice mechanic. Lots of charts here showing off the advantage of it. What you did was you rolled 2d10 in a percentile-like fashion, but you multiplied them together. The bell curve, I'm not a statistician, so I'm not sure the actual terms, but the curve on that, the probability, as it's shown in this chart here, is that the dice rolls will average a lot lower. Whereas when you're rolling 2d10 and just seeing the results using one for the tens and ones for the single digits, it's very average. You could get a 50 as much as you could get 100 as you could get a 1. But multiplying them together, you will average much lower. This meant in game terms that getting skills up higher was not as important. When you put experience into getting your skills out of the sort of 30s, 40s, 50s and up into the high 80s, 90s, you really weren't getting as much results back as you would getting different skills. So the system built in that powerful characters had to spend a lot more for their skills to get any advantage out of it. It's an interesting concept, but most role-playing games just do it simply by charging you more for higher skills. But I don't know, if you want to teach your kids lots of mathematics, getting them to work out, you know, what their 7 sevens are and whatever, it could be good. Continuing through the book, lots of tables and charts, not a lot of artwork, but the artwork that's there, not the highest quality I've seen, but it's quite good. I like it. Showing a Cyborg Commando connecting up to another one to keep it functioning after heavy damage. Again, lots of skills. Generic picture of a Cyborg Commando, is that? I can't see, it's not terribly clear. Yes, it's a Cyborg Commando, somehow swimming with divers. You will notice that he's slightly larger than the others, because the Cyborg Commandos are much taller from memory. Secondary batteries, tertiary batteries. Here was the next version, because this was Cyborg Commando. But they give a hint that in the realization of this goal is still in the future, but it may be possible by 2037. The revised form will be called the Cyborg Champion Unit. So obviously they planned a revision of the game with a more advanced version of the cyborgs for people to level up to, in the way the Dungeons & Dragons box sets had basic levels and then champions and immortals sets, which gave you more and more powers. This would actually lead to you getting more powerful cyborg bodies. Technical data for Cyborg Commandos. Yes, your brain will be in a jar. The brains are controlled or given information by the Mad Mac. You got primary power, secondary power, how the joints work. Somebody had great fun doing these technical drawings, and I find them kind of compelling. I do like that. The picture of Cyborg Commando with infrared lamps, ultraviolet lamps, X-ray tubes, floodlights, how their eyes work, and how their heads are like the numbskulls. So lots of big empty rooms. I kind of expect to see little people running around. Because the brain is actually stored in the torso, while the head is just used for sampling gases, apparently. You need lots of space to bring gases in. Onboard lasers, sonic weapons, all sorts of things to make your Cyborg Commando uber powerful. With built-in sunglasses. See, before Deus Ex Human Revolution had it, Cyborg Commando had robot guys with built-in sunglasses. Onto campaign book. Mainly this is background information. So, the European Commonwealth with a broken Eiffel Tower. Lots more tables. Pan-Asian Union. Role-playing games at the time really did love bombarding you with stats. You know, the instant thing I need on starting a Cyborg Commando campaign is to know the population of Beijing and its latitude and longitude. Why? Why provide me this? I know Wikipedia didn't exist in '87 when this came out, but for hell's teeth, couldn't people buy a guidebook and look it up? Isn't this stuff for later on? It's like they fleshed out a role-playing book by sending the Office Junior down to the Encyclopedia Britannica and just dragging out all the information they could get. This book seems to be mainly just charts. There's a few pictures in here. Xenobiology. We go into the cell structure of the Xenoborgs, because that matters. This is what is more useful. What the Xenoborgs actually like. What do they want? They're controlled by one master race. Space and based teleborgs by size. So you can get giant ones. But that looks more like a machine than a living being. They really just let their artists off the leash. Do what you want. Travel times in space. You're a Cyborg Commando. You don't have a spaceship. Why do you need to know this? After hundreds of pages of populations of cities, we get 3 pages on the invasion. What cities were targeted is 1 page. Depopulation. Now we get told that these pieces of information back here are wrong because they've actually killed off the population. Occupation table showing which cities have been taken over. Oh no, Glasgow's been taken over. The Ouijas will fight them off. I have faith. Standard time units. And that's kind of it. It's not a great game. It's got some interesting rules things to it, and the premise that you are a cyborg super soldier defending the Earth from an invasion is interesting, but they don't give you a whole lot on the aliens. They don't give you background. You have no idea how in your campaign, why they're invading, what they're up to. The Cyborg Commandos themselves, there's not actually that much on the background. You know, how were you chosen? Now, were you a cop that died in the service of duty and were brought back by an evil corporation a la Robocop? Or did you volunteer for this? Might as well look through the GM's adventure notes as well. running your game, creating adventures, specific adventure ideas. Let's read one. Hawaiian holiday. That sounds like fun. A few Xenoborgs are examining the Mauna Loa volcano to see what makes it go. They seem to be planning to affect it in some way. Stop them in a way to discourage higher-ranking Xenoborgs from merely sending replacements. Not only is the local CCF research base endangered, but tampering with the volcano may result in the biggest eruption of any volcano in history, producing a shift in the Earth's crust. The CCs must allow the Xenoborgs to keep communicating with their superiors, but cause events that result in the creature's destruction by natural means, such as releasing lava flows, so the experiment will be written off as a failure rather than a defeat. I suppose it's an interesting idea. But surely the players just want to go out and punch aliens in the face with their big metal fists. Encounters. Okay, everything's upside down. Player adventure notes. So there's sort of an introductory section here that you can just give to players without them needing to read all the book. So it details the armor, the weapons, special effects and abilities. You have a liquid payload. You are noise-making in flight. Okay. Oh no, these are special effects of weapons. Okay. So a missile might be noise making in flight. We have vehicles, 2 of them. Other equipment. You're a cyborg killing machine soldier and you need binoculars? Surely all that should be built in. And the adventure, San Francisco Nights. Let's have a look. The aliens have invaded. The California primary base, home of the elite group of CCs, popularly known as the San Francisco Knights, was destroyed in the attack. Now you must gather your resources and activate a new base on the rugged California coast without letting the enemy find out. The module contains 3 separate adventures, all leading to the common goal of establishing a new CC base near Big Sur, California. So 3 adventures in one, setting up a base. Nice maps. But I have never read this adventure. I bought it. I can't see it being massively of use to me. Johnny Nexus once hilariously wrote a write-up of Cyborg Commando as the worst role-playing game ever written. I tend to agree with one of the reviewers at the time who said it's not the worst game ever written, but it is very, very bad. As I said before, it's got interesting rules, but everything else about the game's a bit naff. So, just because it's written by Gary Gygax does not mean it's good. His name was not a guarantee of quality. But it's a fun wee thing, and I'm glad I've got it. That's all I've got about Cyborg Commando. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.